because our last two stocks may be a bit surprising. They're actually crypto plays, so stay around for that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you own it. I know this looks a little bit different. Looks like it's a little bit old school. We're still working through some technical issues, but we're still going to give you some rocking content. And so, Fat Man Zoom, what is it that we're talking about today?
Thanks, B. Smith. We're talking about hybrid stocks. And we're going to talk about our top hybrid stocks. If you don't know what hybrid stocks are, basically these are stocks that outperform the market during lockdown, but we still expect them to outperform the market on reopening. So I think these stocks are going to be ones that you're going to want to be checking out through opening, and it's kind of a hedge based on what's going on in the market.
Yeah, man. And I think that these stocks are, most of them, I think with the exception of one, are either at or near their all-time highs. And I don't want people to necessarily get discouraged by this or roll their eyes and be like, well, why the hell would I buy something up here? And I think the reason is because they're going to continue to go higher. You know, we talked about this with some of the reopening plays, 8 months ago when they were starting to reach their all-time highs, and they continued to go double and triple from there. So I think there's definitely some possibility for some of these stocks that are going to do that. And so that's why we're bringing them to the table. Of course, we always encourage scaling in and averaging in and all that good stuff. So that's going to definitely come into play here with these few stocks here.
Yeah, bro, I'm excited for this list. I'm excited to roll it out. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you stick around to the end because our last two stocks may be a bit surprising. They're actually crypto plays, so stay around for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so my first one is going to be Airbnb, Fat Man Zoom. And Airbnb has been something that we talked about a month ago and kind of haven't really brought it to anybody's attention since then. I think we talked about it on a Stock Watch Sunday or two, but this is something that I've dumped 5 figures worth of money into, and I feel very strongly about Airbnb. The reopening play here is going to be so crazy, and the travel industry is still going to explode. Airbnb is kind of lagged behind the Booking.coms and kayaks and stuff like that. I think that this is a mistake. I think the fact that this has come down gives it an excellent opportunity to scoop up some cheap shares of Airbnb.
Yeah, Brad, I love this call. A couple of weeks ago, I actually asked you on Stock Watch Sunday your 3 high conviction stocks, and this was at the top of your list. It makes a lot of sense. Domestic travel particularly, we believe is going to be off the charts this year. You look at competitors like Hilton and Marriott that are all-time highs. Airbnb is right up there with it. Bookings are off the charts, and I think people are going to quickly realize when earnings come around that they're going to blow out their year-over-year numbers, and it's only a matter of time that Airbnb as well is going to be at their all-time highs, and it's becoming one of my high-conviction stocks. I love it.
Yeah, man, and you guys can see on the chart here where my position is, and it's at 194.32, and I am not sweating in the least. I think we could see Airbnb get to 275 plus by the end of the year, and I am not kidding. I think that the demand here is going to be absolutely insane. We've already seen demand numbers come from airlines, cruise lines, and the like, and with domestic travel, it's going to be nuts. Looking at this, though, it's holding very well at 175, and I actually considered adding to my position here. And so if you're not in it, this could be potentially a really great entry. Looking at this actually is approaching oversold territory on the daily charts as well. So this is one of the few that we're talking about today that isn't actually at its all-time or near all-time highs. It's actually is on a pullback, and it looks like a really great opportunity here.
Absolutely. The second stock we have is Starbucks. And any of you crew members know how much I love Starbucks. One of the best companies around, did really well during lockdown. And one of the things that happened with lockdown is they created a lot of efficiencies that I think are going to benefit them as we reopen. Brad, we've talked about, the fact that people are itching to get out of the house. Remote work is going to stay around for a bit longer than people anticipate. I don't think companies are in a rush to bring people back, nor do I think there are companies, or I think there are a decent amount of companies that actually won't go back because remote is the way to go. Right. So one of the things that should be interesting as we talked about people wanting to get out of the house, being active, I think the remote workers are going to want to get out of the house and work from somewhere else other than their home office. Starbucks is that answer. And I think they have a lot of room to run, even though I know it's near all-time highs.
Yeah, I mean, actually, as of this recording, we're looking at Starbucks right now, and it is at its all-time high. 115.30 today was its all-time high. It is currently sitting, as of this recording, at 115.21. But one thing that I would ask you guys to consider, and obviously you don't have to if you don't like Starbucks, but I would say that this is going to continue to go higher. It's a perfect example of what we were talking about. I think at this point, at this stage in the game, you just have to own Starbucks. And so it's at whatever price you end up getting it at. And if it does come back down and give you opportunities to potentially get on a lower price, then I would take that. But I think this does continue to go higher. We look at the chart, it's given you very few opportunities to get here on the lower end. If it does pull back, though, I think it stands reason to believe that we see this at around 112 as a good opportunity to grab it on a dip. But, man, I think this does continue to go higher for sure. Now, before we get into the next one here real quick, I just want to invite you guys over to join the Chaos Crew. If you hit the join button next to subscribe, what you get from us is not only just a great community, but you get 5 stocks from us every single day before the market opens, just to give you a snapshot of what we think might actually start making some moves. We've had some really great, incredible plays on that watch list, and it only costs $4.99 a month. You also can get access to our portfolio if you look at the level 2 crew as well. Love to have you guys as a part of the crew. Make sure you're hitting that join button next to subscribe. All right, so my next one here is going to be Twitter. So Twitter, in my opinion, has been one that we've kind of really, I don't know, been more or less been the redheaded stepchild in the social media space. People kind of like to, or have been kind of looking down on Twitter as it compares to like Facebook. And we've talked about how much we love Snapchat and Pinterest, for example. But Twitter has been one of these ones that's been low-key killing it. And since their last earnings, they've absolutely annihilated. I think that this is going to be something, as it's pulled back and started to move back up a little bit, is still going to be a really great opportunity. This is something that we've talked about how they were really starting to pursue Clubhouse. They have a lot of cool features now that are starting to attract more users, and they've been able to actually monetize that. And it's always been a struggle for Twitter.
Yeah, we've poo-pooed the poo-poo. We've poo-pooed Twitter in the past, and we've been hard on it. But I don't know what happened. Like 6 months ago, they just had a shift where historically they're behind the times, they're lagging. It doesn't seem like they have their shit together. And then all of a sudden, with the spaces coming out, it feels like they get a handle on the ad revenue. It seems like they're getting it. And I don't know what happened, but frankly, I don't care. They're on the right track. And a lot of people kind of look at the fact of what they don't do. But look at what they do. Yeah. Twitter isn't going anywhere, and nobody's going to be able to compete. It's going to be really hard to compete with what they offer and what they do. So I think I love this call. I think it's a great call. And one thing I haven't mentioned to you that I think should be on people's radar, Facebook has offered checkout services. Well, the CEO of Twitter is also the CEO of Square, Jack Dorsey. Yeah. So could you see a possibility of maybe a Cash App feature with Twitter? I don't know. We'll see.
I'm just waiting for the day that these two merge. So actually looking at the chart here, this looks really good too. Looking at the 50-day MA, it's been following along quite nicely. We look at the resistance here at $75, and I think that's going to be a crucial area that we see this break up over before it starts to head towards all-time highs, which we think it's going to actually do probably this earnings season. So pay attention to some of the earlier social media platforms that are going to be reporting before Twitter, because Twitter's one of the last ones to do it. So if they start reporting very well and have high expectations, then I think it stands to believe that Twitter's probably going to be influenced by that. So that move is probably going to happen before Twitter's earnings actually come out. So make sure you're paying attention to that.
Number 4 is Docusign. Now, we haven't really talked about Docusign a lot, but let's talk about the opportunity here. First, we have to start with the services it offers. This company is a perfect example of a part of business that's not going to go backwards. Yep. Businesses are realizing this is the better way to do it. Why did we take so long to figure it out? So revenue is going to continue to grow, and enterprises are going to continue to pick up DocuSign. I don't think there's any slowing of DocuSign. If anything, their revenue should continue to grow. So from that perspective, reopening doesn't mean anything for this company. Yeah. However, Brad, one thing that I want to bring to the table, and a bold prediction I make, that DocuSign gets into NFTs. It makes a ton of sense. And I think that if they announce NFTs, this stock will go to the moon.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that is a bold prediction, but it stands to reason that it does make sense. I mean, when you think about, they already have everything in place to set themselves up for something like NFTs. And so you bring up an interesting point as well about companies that have been using this during the pandemic, and all of a sudden, what are they going to do? Just not use it anymore? No, I think that we're seeing a lot of these adoptions into things like Docusign become habits now, and they're not going back. They're only going to increase in demand. And so we're looking at this, and obviously it's found a clear bottom at 187 and is moving on up. It broke through the 200-day moving average and is starting to do that with the 50-day moving average. This thing is heating up, and it's only going to get hotter, in my opinion, Fat Man Zoom. Look for this to maybe make a move up to at least 245, as I see that as a potential resistance for it. If it breaks up over that, watch out. All-time highs are coming for Docusign.
Moving on up.
My next one, my final one here, as far as our top 5 is concerned, is going to be none other than Square. And I know that I'm going to get the eye roll from a lot of you guys because I sold it. I sold it at 235, and
you made money off of it.
I did make money off of it, so I can't be too mad about it. But it's continuing to roll here, and honestly, I was also doing it to manage risk, which I did a very good job at. But looking at this, it's sitting at 272, and I look at this, and we can just go right to the chart. This is something that I think is just going to blast right through all-time highs at 283, and there's so many good things going on for Square that I think that we see 300 plus rather soon. We've talked about, and I've said this ad nauseum for people who've been following this channel, so I'm sure it's ingrained in their brain that this is a tech play that's also a reopening play, and we love these types of stocks that fit into that narrative because Square has done so well at helping companies that were able to pivot and become a little bit more present in the digital space. But let's not forget that Square does an excellent job for brick and mortar companies as far as their POS systems are concerned. They have so many other things in the work. Obviously, it's been going crazy because of crypto as well. Bitcoin hit all-time highs today. And so it's just going to continue to roll, in my opinion. Square is still very much a buy and hold, at least for the foreseeable future, as far as I can tell. Now, looking at the chart here, we can see that there's a pretty clear support here at 260. And so if this actually does have a little bit of a pullback, watch for it there if you're looking to potentially grab a dip on. But this doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So if you don't have Square and you want to own it, in my opinion, I say just buy it and scale in because I think this is probably going to continue to go higher.
I don't understand why analysts and just general commentary isn't bringing up the fact of the exposure Square has to hospitality. There's going to be so much turnover in hospitality business that Square has a lot of meat on the bone, in my opinion, left. So yes, it benefited off of the lockdown, but there is so much missed revenue from hospitality being beaten down. And when it comes back, Square is going to be a clear beneficiary. I love it, man. Good call. Yeah, and I don't care what they say. You do you, boo. Guys, those are our top 5 stocks. You think you could do better than us? I know you guys are there judging us in the chat about our 5. You tell us your favorite hybrid stock. What did we miss? Put them in the comments.
And that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, hit that like button, subscribe, and we will all see you before the bell. B. Smith, Fat Man Zoom, we're out.
Bye. Moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
See you guys.
Yeah, we're moving on up to the east side by Airbnb. We're moving to the east side just for a week. We're going to use Airbnb.